Hello crafty friends, my name is Kimberly Smith and I'm the Papered Chef. Welcome to my 1000th video. I'm excited to share this project with you tonight. We are going to be creating mini coffee cup wrappers. I thank you for your support of my channel and I really hope you like this tutorial that I specially prepared for you because it shows something that I think really sells well at craft fairs in my opinion. It also works as a great stocking stuffer. So I think you're really going to like this. This is a great gift to give to your mail carrier or as a random act of kindness if you don't go to craft fairs. But if you do, at the end of this tutorial, I'll share how much this item actually costs to make as well. So let's start with the concept. You have some mini coffee cups, which are linked in the description below, and you want to cover them up. So you could just take the cup apart, rip it all apart, lay it on the table, trace it, and then try to cut with your scissors. Well, that would take a lot of time. There is an easier way. You could take a ruler and you could take the measurements of this cup. And you only need 3 parameters really to use the template maker, which I'm going to show you. And I've done a lot of trial and error and it seemed to work best in millimeters. So you could take your ruler and you could take the height of the cup, the top diameter of the cup, and the bottom diameter of the cup. And those are the 3 parameters you need, and I'll share those values with you. And you enter these into Template Maker, and it will give you an SVG file. You can get that SVG file and import that into Canvas Workspace, where you can duplicate it and save yourself lots of paper because you can put 5 of these on one sheet of Designer Series paper. So in one cutting cycle, you can have 5 of these wrappers. Not only that, I'm going to show you how to make the covers, the little round part to put on top of the cup, how to make the Hershey nugget wrappers so you can put some treats in your cup, and how to cover the K-cup. All of these items will fit on your mat as well. This is a really fun project because you get to use Template Maker, Canvas Workspace. We're going to send it to our machine and cut it, and then you're going to get to see how I decorate it as well. So you're learning about something from concept, because I had an idea, I want to cover these, I have a problem to solve, right? How do you go from concept to design to actual finished product that you can sell? Now, if you don't have a ScanNCut, that's okay, because Template Maker will give you a PDF file, and you could cut that out and trace it. And also, I will share where you can get metal dies. If you don't have this kind of electronic die cutting machine, you can use a manual die cutting machine and cut these out. And that's even faster in a way because you can put at least 3 sheets of Designer Series paper through at one time. And the designer of that even made bands for it as well. So there's lots to cover here. Let's get started. We will see you over on the computer where we will use Template Maker. Thank you. Template Maker is my favorite site for creating SVG files. And you can customize them too. As you can see, there's lots of different choices on the top, and we're going to be using this one called Cone Truncated. You might be tempted to use this one because this also looks like it would work, but this one is best if you're covering a mini coffee cup as we are in this example. The values I'm about to share with you are the result of trial and error of at least 4 times of cutting these out and making them fit perfectly on my cup till the point where I was perfectly satisfied. You can change the units up here, millimeters, centimeters, inches. In this particular case, for the accuracy, I'd like to work in millimeters. I'm going to type 59 for the top diameter, and then you can hit the tab key to get to the next field. The bottom diameter is 47. Click tab again or use your mouse to go into the next field. And the height of 58 millimeters. Now it's looking like a mini coffee cup holder, or wrapper I should say. Next we're going to look at the glue flap angle. I'm going to keep it at 70%. That's this little angle here. And over here it gives you a hint as to what these different values mean. The glue flap size is set at 7. I like to make it a little bit bigger, 12 or 13. I think after experimenting, I think I ended up with a 12.7 value. I'll share all these measurements with you in the description of this video. Next is what we're going to be cutting this out on. I like to, before I mess with the margins, I like to just go here and go to 12 by 12 inches for desktop cutting plotters. And that, in other words, I'm using the ScanNCut. So I'm going to go for a 12 by 12 mat. And then I like to have 0 margins, and I leave it at a resolution of 72. And the perforation length doesn't matter because I'm not actually going to be using perforations in this particular example. Next, I want to make sure that the output is not a PDF file. If it is a PDF file, that would be something you could cut out by hand with your scissors. But in this case, we want an SVG file because we're going to be importing this file into Canvas Workspace. Next, I'm going to click Create. And it's going to go ahead and create this and put it in my Downloads folder. And there you have your mini coffee cup wrapper. So next I'm going to see you inside of Canvas Workspace, where we're going to be importing this SVG file. And then we're going to duplicate it so we can conserve our paper. See you in the next section of this tutorial. I've opened Brother Canvas Workspace. This is the version that you download onto your computer. This is not the web-based version. And I'll have a link to where you can download this in the description of the video. What we're going for is conserving our Designer Series paper. So after we import the coffee cup wrapper, I'm going to show you how to get it to look like this, where we can have 5 wrappers on one sheet of 12 by 12 with a few extra wrappers for our Hershey nuggets. That's a chocolate that we're going to put inside. A few circles for the top of the cup, and even an extra little circle that we don't even need that I created just to make sure we used up all of the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a blank one, so that is exactly what your screen would look like. So you have a blank, untitled Brother Canvas Workspace file. And you're going to use this button here to import this button here. You're going to use this button here, the SVG button, that says Import from your computer. Click on that and go to your downloads. And there's a file that you're going to import. It has this kind of icon that says Scalable Vector Graphic. Yours may look a little different from mine, but it should be the last thing that you created in your downloads folder. I'm going to click OK. It says some of the objects could not be imported. Don't even worry about that error message. Now you see this line down the middle. So make sure you go into the Layers panel. That's over here on the right side. And there's a line that would actually cut your file. So we do want to make sure you can see that you can, let's see, let's see which one that is. There it is. There's a shape over here in your Layers panel that's a line down the middle. Now if you want to use that and duplicate it to make a belly band for your file, that's one reason you might want to keep it. But I'm personally going to delete it because I don't want that. I also don't want this. I don't want any perforation on my file, so I'm deleting that as well. All I want is this shape, and that's it. You can name your shape if you want. Mini coffee cup. This is your original shape. In case wrapper, in case anything happens to it, you'll have your original layer. Now that before we move on and start arranging this file, we have the wrapper we need. This is a cutting file, by the way. You can even see it up there. It's going to cut. If we send it to our machine right now, it will cut the wrapper, but we'll be wasting a lot of paper. So let's go ahead and save this. And the first time you save it, you can just say Save As and put it where you want it. I'm going to put it in my Canvas Workspace file. I think I already started a craft fair folder just for this. Mini coffee cup. I already have one named. I'm just going to go ahead and put it. I'll just name it Mini Coffee Cup Holder or Wrapper, just to name it something different. So just make sure you know where you saved it. Now, let's take this and we're going to click on it to select it. Use your mouse to move it at a little bit of an angle. And one thing you might want to do is it has the default line color here is like some kind of hot pink color. Let's go ahead and make that black. I'm just going to click on the color of the line and making it black. It's still a cutting file, it shouldn't matter, but it'll be a lot easier for you to see. Let's go ahead and just kind of eyeball it. Now you're going to make sure that it doesn't touch the red line. The red line, anything if it goes over the red line like that, you can't send it to the machine. So make sure all your design is within this red line on the mat, the image of the mat. There you go. So we have a mini coffee cup holder. I'm very happy with that. Now over here in your layers panel, you can just click duplicate, 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 duplicate again, and you just take each one and just line them up. To me, it's sort of an optical illusion where they just don't look the same size, do they? It's kind of funny when you duplicate shapes like that. So now we have 4 that fit on the page, and we're going to take the last one, and it will fit as long as we rotate it. Use the rotation handle and rotate it and move it down and about there, and good. So I'm happy with that. Make sure it doesn't touch the other wrappers. These might be a little close to the top, but we'll see if it lets us transfer them over. But you know, if it doesn't, let's just go ahead and save. And if we were to transfer this to our machine right now, export transfer, I want to see if it tells me that some of the file is not within the line. Okay, nope, it worked. So I'm good. That means that everything is within the lines. So next thing I want to do is create the Hershey Nugget wrapper. We're going to click on this shapes, and we're going to click on a square, and we're going to turn the square into a rectangle by eyeballing it. But really over here in the edit panel is where you want to do it exactly. So go over here and type in, uncheck that it maintain aspect ratio, and type in 3.25 because it's 3 1/4 inch by 1 inch high. That's the size of the wrappers. Now you know about the way to duplicate over in the layers panel, but another way to duplicate a shape is just to right click and duplicate. And I'm using a PC, so I right click all the time, but you have an easy way to do this on other platforms as well. But you can also Control C, Control V, it's copy and paste, and etc., etc. There's so many ways to duplicate. But go back to the layers panel if that's what you're comfortable with. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate, make a few of these little wrappers, and you can see where I'm putting them. I'm holding the shift key on that one to make sure it's straight up and down. See, I'm just putting them wherever there's an empty space. All right, I'm happy with where the Hershey wrappers are. And now I'm going to get myself a circle, scroll on down, create a circle, and I'm already in the edit panel. Over here, it's above the layers panel. And in this case, go ahead and check off maintain aspect ratio because it's a circle. So the width and the height will be in proportion. And we want 3 of these, but first we need to make 1 before we duplicate it. And the circle is going to be 2 inches exactly. So when you click on 2, and then you either tab or click over to the height, the width will stay in proportion to the height. I'm happy with this circle. I'm going to put it there. Right click, duplicate, move it down. Right click, duplicate, move it over, and then right click, duplicate. And this one, oh, it's not going to fit. In which case, that's why I told you we're going to make 1 that we don't really need. That's 1 1/2 inches, just because I know it will fit, and it will fill up every space of our designer series paper, not wasting anything. If you really want to be a miser, you can even put a little shape up in there if you want, and use up every sliver of this paper. All right, I always tell my students that we need to save early and often in all my classes. So let's go ahead and keep on saving. Save, save, save before we send this to the machine. If you want to go over to your layers panel and get these organized, this is the mini cup wrapper. This is another one of those. You could name these things if you wanted to. Nugget. I mean, you can keep your top of cup. You can keep your layers tidy. And if you want to know what these are and what, oh, that's not the top of cup. Sorry, that's the small circle. That was my extra circle. You can see what I'm selecting over here. This is actually the top of the cup. I'm just selecting one of those. But you can see how you can organize layers. I have an entire course on Canvas Workspace where I spend at least 7 hours teaching you the software. And there's still more to learn, even though I called the course Canvas Workspace A to Z. Now let's just get out of here, and we're going to I'm just going to go back to this panel so you're not confused by looking at the layers. Save, and then we're going to go File. I'm going to go up to File, Export, Transfer, FCM file, and then we're going to transfer FCM file via the internet. And now I'm going to see you over at the ScanNCut machine where we're going to get this file from the cloud, which is what we're sending it through. We're going to get the file. We're going to then open it up on our machine and cut it out. And then finally, I'll show you how to wrap the coffee cup as a wrap up to this tutorial. So we'll see you in the next section. Thank you. Now that we're back at our machine, I'm going to show you how to retrieve the data and cut out this file, and then how to remove these from the mat. We're going to go pretty fast, meaning I'm going to increase the speed because it's a really easy pattern to cut. So just to let you know that this works on other models of machine, but I happen to be using the STX 125E, which I love. It has auto blade technology, and the link to this model is in the description of the video. So go ahead and click on Retrieve Data. I'm wirelessly connected, so I don't need a USB cable. I don't need to retrieve it from my machine. I can just go ahead and use this one that says Cloud. I'm going to retrieve it from the cloud because I send it through the cloud. And there is my file. At this point, I could do some things to my file and edit it, but we're not going to because it looks perfect to me. Click OK, and then we're going to select Cut. Those black lines are the cutting lines. And I want to select Start, but I first want to show you the setting that I used. Inside the settings, there are default values. For example, I'm not messing with the pressure. I'm leaving it at its default value. You could tell it's a default value because auto is outlined in black. I can lower the cutting speed to 5, and that would be the default value because it's outlined in black. But because this is an easy file to cut, I'm going to go ahead and raise it up to 7 for the speed. And then I'm going to click Start. And what I like to do, I've already loaded the mat. I like to give it a little rub because sometimes my mat is not very sticky. And I'm also sometimes put a little bit of tape on the edges of the mat. So I can show you how to do that as well. See, it's cutting out now. Now I could take painter's tape. I can even do this while it's cutting, but I just want to show you that. See this little piece down there? It doesn't look like it's gonna, it looks like it's gonna come up. And I don't want these pieces to come up in the middle of my cutting. So I can put a little bit of painter's tape on there. Just so I don't rip the paper. Now this is called the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper. I know it may be a little hard to hear me as the machine is going. So I'll probably just say it again, but this paper is very pretty. But the one that's cutting is multi-directional, unlike this one that kind of has to be put up in one direction. It has a bigger pattern. I prefer smaller, multi-directional patterns. Another one that would work really well is this piece here, multi-directional. This piece would work. This wood one, maybe not so pretty. I would not use this piece here because it's not really multi-directional. These little musical notes would look cute, but they'd be on a curve and it would be a little bit harder to see them. So again, it's Joy of Christmas. This one would work as well. I chose this paper because it's really pretty and because it doesn't really matter which way the direction goes. All right, so I want to show you a couple things now, and then I'm going to show you how to decorate. So in this part here, you can either remove these. If the mat's not very sticky, you can just sort of bend the mat and remove them that way. Or you can use a little spatula. And you can put the little spatula under there and use that to help remove your items from the mat. Okay, and then double-sided. Okay, now I just want to show you where on here that I loaded the mat. Let's click OK because we're done. And one thing that I want to show you is this is where I loaded and unloaded the mat. So let's go ahead and unload the mat. And that's good. Now, because we don't want to, if we were going to make a lot of these, it's craft fair season, we're making a lot of this shape. You can click back and you could save this to your machine. So let's click Save. And we could save it to our machine. We could also save it back to Canvas Workspace, but let's just go ahead and save it to our machine because we already know it's saved in Canvas Workspace because I had you save it multiple times. Now that it's saved to the machine, we can, let me just go ahead and click Home. We can come back the next day and you're working on your craft fair items and you want to open up this file. You can just click on Retrieve Data, go to your machine, go to the last file on your machine, and there's the coffee cup, mini coffee cups holders. And then you can click OK, and you can go ahead and click OK again, and you can cut them out again. So that's why I think it's important to save those files. All right, so let me gather the supplies I need. You're going to need glue, you're going to need rolling adhesive, etc., etc. And I want to show you, I'm going to get the Hershey nuggets. I want to show you how to decorate your coffee cups. That's next. Thank you. In this section, I'll share how to decorate the mini coffee cup using the wrapper that we created. It's important to play around with the cup and the wrapper before you use any adhesive on it so you get a feel for how to put this wrapper on. This I'm considering the back, and that is where the seam is going to line up in the end. And when I say seam, I mean that's already a seam of a cup, and then I'm going to be tucking this part under to hide it. That's the little flap, the glue flap. And then that's where I'm going to line up the paper. Now you see it fits on there perfectly. So you want to start by, and you could just, I mean, it would pretty much stay if you just put a little bit of adhesive back here and a little bit on the flap. But I like to really make it stay. So I tend to put adhesive on both flaps. And then I put adhesive all along the top and all along the bottom. I just know that once you sit these for a while, and sometimes I make these in advance and I store them for a while, these sometimes pop off. So I like to put a lot of adhesive on them. Now we're going to put that's going to be the back. So I'm going to go, this is going to be the front. So what I want to do is put my finger right there on the bottom. And I just want to go around and push, 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 right? By pushing this up, right? And making sure that everything's flat, no bubbles in the paper, and that this is lined up to the bottom of the cup. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do that to the other side. So using my thumb, just line it up to the cup. And you see this part is the glue flap, and I want to cover that up. So that's the back, and that's all there's to it. It's very easy. And then you can add your ribbons. And if you're going to use ribbons, I like to put a little bit of adhesive. Let me find my ribbon spool. It was here. Okay, well, let's just use this one, for example. So if I was going to put this on here, it might slip down, even though there's a little bit of elastic in this ribbon. So I might put a little glue dot back there to hold it, or tie it real tight. And, you know, that, or if once I have a bow, I can hide the bow with a little dimensional behind it or a glue dot. So that's the festive little cup. And then you can decorate the top of the cup. Now, what I like to do for this part is I like to use dimensionals because there's that little depression there. And I just like to put a couple dimensionals on there. And you could even double them up because it's kind of deep there. But I'm not going to just for now. Just going to show you that I put that there. Just doesn't push in. And then I put a little bit of adhesive around the outside of the circle. So it kind of sticks onto the flaps. I just don't want it to come off the top of the cup. Tuck in the edges. You probably could just use glue for this as well. And these are the 2-inch circles that we cut out. And I really want to cover up that hole there on the lid. Super cute. Everyone likes things, like the smaller the better. They think this stuff is so cute at the craft fair. And they always like ask me about it and want to buy these. These are so cute. Okay, a little bit of adhesive on the Hershey nugget wrapper. And then for these, I tend to use the Hershey nuggets that don't have nuts, that don't contain nuts, because the ones that do contain nuts, you sort of need to indicate that. So I'll show you that real quick. So for example, here's something for a craft fair. This is a Hershey nugget treat. And then these I would have on the back, Hershey nuggets with almonds, chocolate, and nuts. See? So in this case, I'm just going to, because I'm just using one for each of these, I'm just putting it in the cup without the nuts. So this one has nuts, but I'm not going to use those for this particular coffee cup project. All right, we already have the cup. We're just going to use this decorated one. So you can put ribbons on it, etc., etc. Now we have our little K-cup, and we have more circles. And where am I? It's the same size. Okay, the same size, the 2-inch circles. Let me just show you that. So for these, the same size, I'm just going to show you that I just put one little dimensional on those. right? Because I want them to be able to take this off and use it as a K-cup and put it in their coffee machine. So that's what you do. You decorate your cup, put the little K-cup in, put the little Hershey nugget in there, and then the cute little lid. Now this is some real red ribbon, and then this is a little something for you with lots of love from me. That's just one of my many sentiments I found that would fit on here. So I'll show you a few. I got that one from Peaceful Deer. Oh no, I got that one from this one. I got that one from Festive and Fun by Stampin' Up. All available at my store. And then Warm Wishes, that's this one. Got that one from Very Cute. And then this one, let's see. Sending Love and Peace This Season. I also have one of those right here. And that is from Peaceful Deer. Okay, this paper is Joy of Christmas, and I'll link these items beneath. Okay, let me show you a couple of other examples. This one is retired paper. I think it was called Snowflake Splendor. And I really love how the silver ribbon came out. In fact, I love ribbons that have a little bit of elastic to them. So that's why I'm preferring the glittered organdy ribbon. This one was super easy to tie. There was a little bit of elastic in it, and it doesn't slip down. Okay, and let's see what else I have. This one, Warm Wishes. This is my little polar bear. Painted it with a little bit of Wink of Stella and some Pool Party. And that's what that looks like on the inside. So you could decorate these with all your different papers that are, again, unidirectional. Works best for your papers. This little sticker I got from the Memories and More card pack. But you could also probably use what I use for my nail file boxes. Just some little to from stickers. You could do Merry Christmas and cut it apart. So here's some other, really popular craft fair items. You can make these with your ScanNCut, or you can make these with manually, like I showed you on a recent tutorial on my YouTube channel. All right, so in summary, you have learned from start to finish how to make these. And I want to show you with a ruler how you can measure different things. So this is just a millimeter. You can measure across, right? Millimeters. Measure across the bottom, right? Diameter. This is of a cone shape, height of the cone, right? And that's how we got the wrapper, from concept to design and template maker, to sending it out to our machine and cutting it with the ScanNCut, to now decorating with it. And now you maybe want to sell these at craft fair. So let's go full circle. So let's end this really fun tutorial with that craft fair calculator that I created. And this is just my first go at it. And this is something that I have at my Etsy store. And I'm working on, as per customer request, having many more lines on this. So this calculates it for you. This is a PDF with the programming all built in. So for the cups and lids, that you get them in a pack of 50. These coffee cups and lids. So it's $12.98 for a package of 50. Now I have Prime shipping, and I'll link to that in the description, the package, but you may also have to pay for shipping, so you want to add that to your cost. So that's for 50 per package, but cost per unit is 26 cents per cup and lid. So if you only need one for this project, that part's going to be 26 cents. Hershey Nuggets, I just wrote 10 per bag. Of course, you can get these on sale at CVS, Walgreens, and different times. Use coupons. It may not be $29 in a bag for $10. This will be the upper end of what I pay for nuggets. 34 cents a nugget, so I added that cost. K-Cups, I'm just going by what they usually cost me in the grocery store. Sometimes I get these on sale as well. I'm using iHop or Dunkin' Donuts, just ones that I like, because if I don't sell something, of course, I want to keep them and use them, so I'm going to get coffee I like. I also like Starbucks, and there's other cups. But so K-Cups, $7.99 for a container of 10, and then it's 80 cents a K-Cup. Now, of course, if you put different kinds of candies in here, it won't cost as much. Designer Series paper, I'm using this one. I'm going to show you this again from our ScanNCut. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a sheet, right? And the Designer Series paper is Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper by Stampin' Up. It's $12.50 a pack. I just put $1.25 a sheet, and you get 5 per sheet. So for that kind of calculation, you have to say 0.2, because you don't actually use one whole sheet for one item. You use partial of a sheet. So I put that you get 5 out of one sheet. So I put 0.2. That's why I do craft fair examples for you on this calculator. And then so that would be 25 cents for the amount of paper that you would use for one of these. And of course you can use a punch in your scraps to get other circles. That this gives you 3 circles that you need, 3 Hershey Nugget wrappers. But pretty much it's about a quarter per item. And then ribbon, I put $1 per yard, but you don't need a whole yard. You need like a quarter of a yard. That's to do this little well, maybe more of like to do this bow. Let's see, maybe this one, 1/4 of a yard, because I just did a little bow. If you make a big bow and do lots of fun stuff, it might be a little more, but I didn't really like how my bows come out because I'm not a really good bow tire. I like more just kind of making it festive with the little, this kind. So I'd say 4 you get out of 1 yard. And meaning you could, you probably get way more than that out of a yard. So it's 1/4 for that. So then it would be $1.90 for this mini coffee cup holder. And if you charge $4, you'd get a $2.10 profit. And the reason I say charge $4 because then you can say, oh, you can get these 3 for $10. So your profit would go down a little bit, but you would at least be able to discount them and still not lose money. And you could also use them as an incentive. So my mom sells her aprons, and they're $30 each. So I would say, oh, buy an apron and you can pick out one of these cute treats. So sometimes I use these as incentives. And I also use these as gifts, but it's good to know how much they cost. You want to also factor in, and I have a place for labor. You want to, what you pay yourself by the hour. And that can be factored in, of course, then it would be a lot more than $1.90. But this is just to give you an idea. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I hope you got something out of it. And I want to show you, lastly, if you don't have the ScanNCut and you can't cut 5 of these per page, and you don't want to print out a PDF and trace over it, then there is another option. And the Stamp Doctor has circle, or these dies, coordinating dies. And one just flew across the room. Here we go. So you can use these, and I have a link to these. They're only, I think, $15 right now on sale. So you can get these dies, cut 3 pieces of paper at once, and use these for your mini coffee cups. And that's what I was using before I used the ScanNCut. Before I invented a way to do this a lot more efficiently for me, is doing it with the ScanNCut, because I have several ScanNCuts and I have them all going at the same time. Hope this was useful to you. Hope you understand the whole concept and that you'll give these little mini coffee cup projects a try this holiday season, this craft fair season. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef. I appreciate all your support you have given me in this channel as I celebrate my 1000th video.